Hello everyone, it's me, Inky Nightshade, and I want to officially welcome you into Mestoria, the modded Minecraft server. The server that I have spent way too long trying to create for all of us to play on. So, as an introduction to this server, this is a server that has several different types of mods. Magic mods, tech mods, biome mods, farming mods, and just a bunch of other little random mods, even mods that add structures to explore. Whatever you want to do out of this, whatever you want to get out of this, I'm sure there's going to be something to offer you your fix. So, yeah, welcome to the server. And also, one of my favorite mods that we get to play around with is the Seasons mod. So, say we were to go from midwinter to midsummer, it's going to look like this, for example. Seasons mod is a fun little addition that just adds to the overall atmosphere on top of everything else already. So that will be pretty fun. But although I kind of want to start in midwinter, because midwinter is the equivalent to January in my mind, which is the beginning of a year, so we get to hang out and just kind of see the progression of the season slowly over the course of one real-life month, which is what they're configured to. A full season cycle should last 1 month in real time, meaning that, at least we get to fully immerse ourselves in the winter season and fully immerse ourselves in the fall season, especially everything. It's going to be great. But yeah, welcome to the server. Let's get started on what we're going to cover here. I'm going to touch in on some of the mods. I'm going to touch in on, well, just basically everything you need to know regarding the server. And of course, you can use the chapters things plopped into the description. You can use that to seek out which mods will be of interest to you and watch those videos on how to get started on those, but I would honestly recommend watching this whole video to kind of get a sense of what's available, at least at the base level, and how you can expand from there. So, the location where we're all going to start is Spawntown. It is currently overpopulated with way too many villagers, so yeah, there's way too many right now. But yeah, this is where you start. Spawntown is completely surrounded by a wall that is mostly mob-proof, and gates that can be closed and opened at any time, so as to keep the place protected from mobs. A safe space for you to get started without getting completely overwhelmed by mobs is the idea in this little spawn town, as I call it. Yeah. So this is where you can start. From Spawn Town, you can even have safe access to... Well, I guess the easiest way to access it is either... So this is the centerpiece. If you go in this direction, plop down over here, you have access to the mines, where you can at least start your journey and find some ores by strip mining, or doing whatever else you want to do, or whatever else you typically do to collect your base level resources. This is the ideal location to get started on that, and is within the safety of the spawn of Spawntown. And we can obviously revisit the name for the spawn community later on as we slowly build it up. But yeah, this is the starting point, and what that's going to look like. The next thing that I want to touch in on is information regarding the spawn area. So the reason I chose this as our seed is because of the insane mountain ranges surrounding what could become a very beautiful community that we all get to work on, with mountains that even peak higher than 280 blocks. Mountains that are higher than old versions of Minecraft could have even been able to handle. It's truly amazing. But also, because of the special nature of the spawn region, and I will touch on this more with the rules, I'm hoping for the spawn region to kind of act as a communal area, especially whatever locations are within the mountainous regions surrounding spawn, I would like it to be a communal area for us to kind of build things and work on things together to some extent. And I'll definitely touch into more on that on the rules when we get to the rules in a moment. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of the spawn region. A mountainous area surrounded by forests. You even got a jungle over there if you want to go for some tropical biomes. Cliffs with beautiful lush caves on both ends over here. And taigas, dark forests, and whatever else you'd want to find and get started with. It's all over here. Yeah, so that's the spawn region. Okay, so we should get started and touch in on the rules. So the rules are pretty straightforward, I like to think. I'm just pulling them up on my phone. So we have no griefing, obviously. If you are a part of the server, destroying someone else's structure without their consent is not okay. Or destroying the communal spawn region is not okay. And anyone who's caught doing this will be banned without question. Griefing, there's no excuse for griefing. You can't just mistakenly blow up someone's base or whatever. So if, I catch someone griefing a structure without someone's consent, then yeah, obviously that's going to be a thing. Although, if someone does want their structure to be destroyed, and, you want to have a celebratory or symbolic destruction of an old structure or something, that's different, and obviously it can become a whole thing where we get to watch the destruction of some sort of structure, then obviously that is perfectly fine, whether it's in the spawn region or outside of it. If, whoever created the structure decides that they want it to be destroyed, and, you happen to be the one to have the explosives and gets to place and detonate the explosives, then that's fine. But other than that, destroying structures and griefing is not okay, especially if it's in someone else's claimed chunks. So just keep that in mind. You will be banned instantly if you are caught doing that. Then there's no stealing. This one will be a little bit more lax, because I understand if someone mistakenly takes something, but also, like, if you go out of your way to steal extremely valuable resources from a person... Oh, my internet just connected. I will disconnect before that kicks me just from dropping. My internet's been really finicky these days, and it's truly frustrating. Yeah, so no stealing is a big one. Or, it's... If you end up going out of your way to steal extremely valuable resources from someone, that could be problematic, and we'll definitely have to talk about that, and, go in the direction that we decide to go with however we want to approach it. But, just don't take someone's stuff. And if you do happen to take stuff there will obviously be communal areas where you can access basic resources as well. As long as you don't, steal the whole chest of resources, I think we'll be fine. But just in general, don't take things that either are, in someone else's claimed chunks, if you somehow manage to access one of their storage units. And just don't take stuff. Just don't take an excessive amount of stuff from communal spawn areas as well. Another one that will get you instantly banned, though, is if you bully someone, participate in any sort of hate speech, whether that's homophobia, racism, or, anything like that. You'll obviously be kicked and banned from the server if, I can't catch any of you doing that. It's just, be a decent human. People are here to have fun. It's a block game. Let's not make a big deal out of a block game. If you have, if you do wish to spew problematic views upon anyone and make them feel horrible for being who they are, that's just not welcome here, and you will have to be banned permanently for that one. And obviously just don't harass anyone or anything like that. If someone doesn't want you to do something or anything... Yeah, if someone doesn't want you to do something, don't do it. If you are going out of your way to cause harm to someone without their consent, then don't do it. So, that one should be pretty obvious, though. Essentially, just be a decent human. And the next one is no lagging the server purposefully. Such as big mob farms or anything like that. Or, contraptions that are just absolutely immense and make it really difficult for the server itself to function. Obviously, farms and create structures and things like that are perfectly fine, but just, if you're going out of your way to create insane things that are severely lagging the server, then we'll definitely have to figure out how we can otherwise deal with that. But I can't imagine that becoming an issue. There is also the thing that because this server is using so many custom world gen things, it does lag when it generates new terrain. Accessing old terrain is perfectly fine. Like, I can go here and experience absolutely no lag when loading up already generated chunks. But if you're going into new terrain, it's going to struggle a lot more. So just be mindful of that, and, maybe you don't discover new chunks with an elytra and fireworks if there's a lot of other people who are online or anything like that. And also, it might be a good idea to lower your render distance a little bit. If you go into video settings and go over here, you'll have render distance. Lowering that while traveling can just help make the server struggle a little less. But obviously, if you do want to discover chunks a little bit quicker, maybe just ask the people who are online if it's okay for you to use an elytra with fireworks and have them deal with a very laggy server while you're discovering chunks. Essentially, if you're planning to max out your render distance while discovering chunks, or doing things like that while other people are online, if you're planning to do anything like that that causes a lot of lag while other people are online, just ask them, see if they're okay with you, going crazy while they're online. If you're online on your own, though, I can't see it being an issue to discover chunks with higher render distance or with an elytra. Just, don't make the experience shitty for anyone else who's online if there happens to be anyone else online. So, I think that one should also be pretty obvious. But yeah. So, just being mindful of lag is, I think, a big thing. And I think as long as people are mindful, it shouldn't be an issue. So the next and last rule is the spawn building and claiming rule, which you can also read more about it in the welcome channel. But essentially, if you are within 2,000 blocks of spawn, just check in with me if you want to claim chunks, and we'll make sure that it's not going to be in the way of something else. And, because I understand that having claimed chunks close to spawn is ideal, and it'll make it useful for people to have their own possessions kept in chests in a protected area, or have your own little area where you're farming, or a rest area, or even a small little plot where you get to have your own home and building area within the spawn area, and not wanting other people to mess with it. So if you're wanting to claim chunks, just let me know, and I'm sure we can find a way to allow you to claim 1 to 10 chunks within the spawn region. But if you are more than 2,000 blocks away from Spawntown, from the Spawntown waypoint, you don't even need to ask. Don't even worry about it. Just claim however much you want and go wild. But, like I said, I want the spawn region to kind of be a communal area. So that's why I don't want to go super crazy with people claiming large swaths of land in the mountains, because it would be really great for us to work together on building epic structures within those mountains that we all can utilize. I think that'd be really awesome. And if you really want to build structures in the mountains and have it all kept to yourself, maybe I could help you find some new mountain biomes that you can utilize. And I'll also get into another feature that'll allow you to discover biomes far more easily in a moment, but for now, essentially that's the rule with chunk claiming in the spawn region, and also just being mindful that it is a communal area. I don't necessarily need you to ask if you can build something in the mountains. If you want to build something in the mountains, go crazy. But maybe if you're planning a big project within the mountains, just check in with me. But at the same time, it would be nice to allow people to just do whatever the heck they want, just as long as they're not claiming excessive amounts of chunks so that other people can't come in and enjoy the communal space that spawn is supposed to be. I don't know, I just think it'll be cool to see big projects that we all get to work on together, structures that we pop up and spawn that are our own signature on the spawn region, and having like maybe farms and structures that are like stores that each of us get to operate, or big castles or anything like that that we want to put in spawn and kind of mark as our contribution to spawn. I think it'll just be really cool to play around with that concept, and that's kind of why I just want to limit chunk claiming within the spawn region. So yeah, that's that rule. I don't want to spend too much time delving into that. If you want to read more about it, go into the welcome channel. If you want to ask me questions about it, or if you have a problem with it, let me know, and we can definitely talk about it. But anyways, that's the rules. So let's move on to the next thing, which is getting started. So, when you spawn into the world, you are likely going to spawn here. Obviously on the ground. You're going to likely spawn on in the snowy fir clearing biome. That looks very cold and rather unpleasant to be in, especially during the winter season. And you're going to be 6,000 blocks away from Spawntown. So, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go //spawn, then hit enter. And you'll teleport right to Spawntown, where you can start off in a protected community where you don't have to worry about monsters due to iron golem protections and walls and gates. If for some reason monsters get in here, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing, as there's way too many villagers. But for the most part, it's protected. Yeah, see what I mean? It's nuts. But yeah, for the most part, you know, you're protected in here. You got access to crops, both up there and in the greenhouses up the hill. There's several plots that grow crops, and farmer villagers that you can trade with. It's just a good place to get started. From here, you know, if you go near this structure and you head in this direction, or south on the map, walk a little bit, like not even that far, head over here, plop over here, and plop down there. I might mark it with signs to make it easier to notice. You got the mines, where you can at least get your starter materials such as stone and iron and whatever else you want to do. You can even go ahead and strip mine here, or dig deeper, and just, yeah, find the resources that you need to get started on your wild journey here. And obviously from there you'll just go in whatever direction you wish to go. So, let's touch into some useful commands, which will help all of you get around and help you see friends a lot more easily. So, some useful commands are also, with this inventory thing, hit Z if this pops up by accident. The Z key is the one that does this. So if you accidentally pop this up by accident, hitting Z will pop it back down. But yeah, anyways, useful commands. Useful commands you'll have would be like set home, to set your one home that you're allowed to set. So I suggest, you know, find an area that's like a couple thousand blocks from spawn at least, where it'll actually be really useful for you, and setting your home base over there so you can teleport to there and spawn really easily without paying the cost of a waystone. So yeah, you can do set home, and then whenever you want to go back to that home, you just do /home, and well, this wasn't I didn't intend for this to be my home, but okay. I remember the reason I set it here, though. But yeah, you can, you know, go home, and then do /spawn to go back to spawn. So those are some useful commands for getting around. You can also utilize TPA, ask whoever's online, and you can use this little menu to see who's online. Or you can do TPA here to ask someone to teleport to you. So TPA is to ask someone to teleport to them. TPA here is to ask someone to teleport to you. Those commands seem to be functional. I tested it recently with some quiet testing I was doing on this earlier. So yeah, that works and will help you get around and access and help you access some of that stuff. But yeah, those are some of the basic commands that you can utilize to get around and all that sort of stuff. The end. So, with the end, getting to the end is going to be a little bit different. The end portal room is in here. And you need to collect 12 unique eyes that you can collect from unique situations to eventually contribute to this portal, and all of us as a community can create this portal, and then once it opens, you have access to the end from then on. So, so the kinds of eyes you can utilize and find in the world to fill this portal with. You got the black eyes, which are found in treasure chests sometimes. They won't always be found in the chests of the unique structure that they can spawn in, but there will usually be a pretty high chance of them spawning. So yeah, the black eye, the cold eye, which is found in the igloos, the corrupted eye, which is found in pillager towers, the lost eye, which is found in mine shafts, abandoned mine shafts, the nether eye, which is found in nether fortresses, the old eye, which is found in desert temples, the rogue eye, which is found in jungle temples, the cursed eye. I'm going to guess that I haven't really dealt with this one before, but I'm going to guess that a powerful yet destructive artifact the piglins swore to protect it at the cost of their lives. I'm guessing that means that you can find it in a bastion or something to do with piglins. That's what I'm going to guess. And then you got the evil eye. Let's see. The evil eye doesn't seem to... I don't know where you can get it from. Doesn't seem to have a crafting recipe either. Then you got the Guardian Eye, which you get from killing a Elder Guardian in a ocean monument. Then you got the Magical Eye, which you can get from killing an Evoker in either a raid or a woodland mansion. Then you got a Wither Eye, which you get from killing the Wither. You have a Witch Eye, which you craft. One second. You got a Witch Eye, which you get from... Well, the witch has to drop the pupil, which there's a pretty low chance of the witch dropping the pupil, but once they drop the pupil, you get a witch pupil, crafted it, put it on the crafting table with an Eye of Ender, and you get a Witch Eye. Then you also got the Undead Eye, which you can craft from Phantom Membranes, Rotten Flesh, Gas Tier, Bones, and Undead Souls. And then you also got... And then lastly, you got the Exotic Eye, which you get with 2 conduits, some different types of coral, glow ink, and an Eye of Ender. So there's, I think, 14 unique eyes in total. You plop them in this portal. There's slots for 12, so there are 2 that you don't need to get, whichever ones those end up being. You plop them in the portal opens, and then you get to access the end. You can only have 1 of each kind of eye in the portal, though, so just keep that in mind. So that's how you get to the end, and I like the idea of us all kind of working as a community to activate this portal that is located at spawn. And I look forward to, the adventures that come when we finally open the portal to the end. So, I will touch in on the fact that there is a progressive difficulty mod. So certain points in the game are reached. There are certain points in the game that are reached when the difficulty will increase. There are 2 points, such as, I think it's killing a piglin brute in the nether, and then, which brings you to level 2 difficulty, and then if you kill the Ender Dragon, it brings you to the final difficulty level. which just adds a challenge to the game to make it balance out once you get better gear and better stats and whatnot. So yeah, that's the idea of it. And also, because there is a new bleeding status effect, it would also be a good idea to craft these bandages and carry them with you. And have them in your hotbar just in case you get inflicted with the status effect. It's not super deadly on the first difficulty tier, but it definitely gets worse as the game gets more progressively difficult. Other mobs also experience the bleeding effect as well at the same severity, so yeah, it should at least balance out to some extent in that way, but just be wary of that. Wearing armor also helps decrease the chance of bleeding as well, so at least there's that. It just helps balance out the game, and it also helps encourage people to work as a team as opposed to individually. Of course, I do understand if some people want to go on their own, but just beware of the challenge, and it'll be good to build walls around your base as well for this reason. Which at least walls or fences that are at least a block and a half high to keep mobs out. And also, we'll get to the scarecrows in a bit. But yeah, that's kind of all you really need to know about the progressive difficulty mod for now. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask me. So, the next thing you'll want to know is the Scarecrow mod. Now I just gotta... Right. I remember what I gotta do now. So, the Scarecrow mod... it's a mod that I think all of you should know. There are several different types of scarecrows that you can create. The first one, you need just a clay block, 2 sticks, and a carved pumpkin to plop on it. And then you get a level 1 scarecrow, which scares mobs, including animals. This is the only one that scares animals away, as well as hostile mobs, 8 blocks away. This scares creatures, pretty much any creature, for up to 8 blocks. It'll have that effect on creatures. It's the lowest tier, so just keep that in mind. From now on, each tier that I'm going to show you is a level higher than the last, which means it'll scare mobs from a larger and larger radius. So the next one requires chiseled stone, again, 2 sticks, and 1 carved pumpkin. This one I think scares just hostile mobs from 16 blocks away. It's also to help balance out the fact that there is a difficulty mod as well, so that at least you're not getting destroyed at your base. The next level is crafted using nether brick fence, 1 nether brick fence, 1 nether rack, 2 sticks, and again a carved pumpkin. The next level up from that is for the next one you'll need to create requires 1 nether brick fence, 1 quartz pillar, it has to be a quartz pillar facing up, 2 sticks, and a carved pumpkin, and then you get the next level. Now, for the final ones that you need to get, you will have to go to the end. The next level is made using 2 end rods, 1 end stone, 2 sticks, and a carved pumpkin. And for the final one, hidden behind there, you will need 2 end rods, a purple pillar, 2 sticks, and a carved pumpkin. These structures also help stop mobs from spawning in the area that they are placed. Although the only catch is that the mobs have to be within the view, the areas have to be within the view of the scarecrow structure for it to work effectively. So if there's a bunch of trees, it's not going to work for anything that can't see this structure. So just keep that in mind. So unfortunately it can't be a hidden feature, but maybe having it at the perimeter, at the corners of your property wouldn't be a bad idea. And especially at the entrance of your house. So there's the Scarecrows. The next one is the Silent Gear mod. One of my favorite mods, because it allows you to take any ore that you find in the world, whether it's a thermal series ore, immersive engineering ore, regular Minecraft ore, or silence gems, or whatever other metals you find in the world, and you can use these metals to craft tools and anything out of them, really. So let's give myself an iron pickaxe, let's get coal, and plop 1 coal into each furnace. And now, let's get some uranium. We're gonna get some silver. We're gonna get an emerald, a diamond, some silence gems, and an iron. So let's throw in the iron, the uranium, and the silver. I did forget to get one thing in creative mode for myself. One thing you're going to be getting when you first spawn in-game is a blueprint package. And this will bring you your starter blueprints for silence gems. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to start off by making a tool rod. So let's go to this crafting table over here. You're going to start off by making tool rods. So say you can make a tool rod maybe out of emerald and iron. You can mix materials. It'll say, wah, mixing materials is disabled by the config, but I turn that off, and I guess the description just stays there, unfortunately. But I turned it off, so just ignore that. You can mix materials, regardless if you're in creative mode or survival. I'm clearly in survival. So then you get 4 tool rods out of 2 materials. What you can do from then is... Oh god, my internet disconnected again. It's gonna kick me out. I guess I'll just get out and wait, because it's gonna disconnect anyways. My internet keeps on cutting out so much so that it will say no internet, and then it clicks back on. Let's just wait for this to log in. My apologies for making you all wait. There we go. Okay, so now you have your tool rods. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to have each of these different blueprints. If you want to know what each blueprint does and what other blueprints are available, you'll want to use your just enough items menu over in the corner here in order to activate it and make it so that you can actually use it, because just starting to type won't do anything, I don't believe. Or maybe it will. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click one of the items in the side panel here to kind of activate the menu, and then you're going to want to look things up. And it'll help you look up crafting recipes and help you understand what you can do with certain materials and blocks. So, if you want to look up blueprints that you have available, you have all of these different blueprints available. Super convenient, super great. You can go in here and see, like, oh, a pickaxe blueprint is created this way. In order to see how to make the blueprint itself, you need to click on the item in the GEI menu with a left click. With a right click, you can see what you can do with that blueprint. And as you can see here, in order to craft a pickaxe with the pickaxe blueprint, you need 1 tool rod and 3 items of 3 different material items, which can be gems or sandstone or whatever else. There's tons of different things that you can do with it, tons of different materials that you can use with it, and obviously you can mix and match. That's one of the great things about Silent Gear. And of course you got blueprints for items and tools that do not exist in vanilla Minecraft, like the hammer, which carves out a 3x3 tunnel. Super convenient, super easy to use. And it only requires 1 tool rod and 6 material to make with the blueprint. And to make the blueprint, you just need 3 blueprint papers and a stick. In order to make the blueprint paper, you just need 1 blue dye and 4 papers. Not that hard to get if you can craft the blue dye from lapis lazuli and get a paper farm going. But if you want something a little bit more quicker, you can craft these templates. In order to craft a template board, you just need a knife or a dagger, which you can craft. You can also craft with one of the blueprints you get from Silent Gear to start off with, and you take a log, and you get 6 template boards when you craft it in a crafting grid with a knife. And you can then make any of the items that you can make with a blueprint using a template, which is a one-use thing. So, yeah, you can make armor. This is a great way to get access to armor early on with all sorts of different materials, including flint, I guess. You can make flint armor. But yeah, so templates are your more temporary, quick fix option, but they do get consumed on use, unlike the blueprint, which is forever. And of course, you get the knife blueprint to craft the knife as well. So, so yeah, that's what you can do with that. And in order to craft a knife well, I guess you don't really need to know how to craft the knife blueprint. But in order to craft a knife, you just need 1 tool rod and 1 material item plus the blueprint, which does not get consumed on use. So let's test this out. So now I have a bunch of materials. We got a iron tool rod. We got a pickaxe blueprint. We got 1 silver ingot, 1 uranium ingot, and 1 iolite. You now have a pickaxe that you can craft. And you can take a look at the stats by hitting Control to see if the stats are what you want, essentially. And you can play around with the materials to see what differences each one makes, because they will make differences. Like, even just the difference here, you can see, oh, durability, 712. Oh, but if I swap it out for the uranium for carnelian, ooh, 790. What happens if I switch out silver for diamond? Ooh, 1105. So you can play around with that, and then get a custom pickaxe. And then you're good to go, and just repeat for whatever tool you want to make out of the blueprints you have. So now you have an iolite pickaxe, which probably works a hell of a lot better than an iron pickaxe. You also got stats to look at, like harvest speed. You also get to look at harvest speed and attack damage, harvest level. So if it harvests, yeah, this one harvests obsidian, all that sort of stuff. So, and then you can look at the construction hitting left alt. And if you hit shift, you can kind of look at its traits. Oh, it's got crushing 2, brittle 4, gold digger 1, magnetic 3, and synergistic 3. So each material comes with its own buffs as well, which can seriously help a lot. So yeah, that's kind of an intro to Silent Gear. Relatively easy to use once you get the hang of it. If you have any other questions on it, feel free to ask, but I think with this knowledge you should be able to kind of at least slowly grow from there. It took me a while to get it though, so obviously feel free to ask me questions if you want to play around with the more complex features of Silent Gear. So anyways, let's go back into creative mode and clear all this stuff out of my inventory. So the next thing is talking about JourneyMap. So in order to access the JourneyMap, you hit the J key, and you'll be brought to your JourneyMap thing here, where you can scroll around and see all the chunks you've discovered and mapped out. You can access different options here, where you can look at different options and, cater these options to you. I know some of these options will even affect your client performance as well, so looking in here if you're dealing with lag, might be a good idea, and you can turn down some of the options. I don't know which ones out of these do, but I know there's like one that, is it this one? It's, yeah, like render delay, it says higher values can improve performance, but may result in missed chunks while traveling. So just, yeah, and then you have like surface max distance, radius of chunks around you that are eventually mapped on the surface and dimensions with the sky. Lower values can improve performance. Values greater than Minecraft's render distance have no effect. Set to 0 to mirror video option chunk render range. So playing around with that can also give you performance as well. and then obviously same thing with the cave mapping distance. And that would all be under cartography. Oops. Oh. Yeah, so that is under cartography. And waypoints are also a thing that you can create just by double clicking, and then you can click the backspace and type in your title for the waypoint. Now, oops, I have a waypoint that I don't want there, and it has a stupid name. Also note that you can see how far the waypoint is and kind of use it as a guide to get to where you're going. You know, having these waypoints which can be seen from anywhere on the server to you is a great way to plop a waypoint somewhere and have, you know, an easy to follow way to get back to where you're going. But yeah, oops, I placed a waypoint that I don't want. What do? I click J, I go to the waypoints tab down here where there's a little diamond in the corner. I click that, I see, oh, let's remove this. You have the remove button out of all the options that you can do, so you can remove those waypoints and not see them. Or, alternatively, if you want to have a waypoint but feel like it's annoying if it's in your visual peripheral range and it's kind of a distraction, you can temporarily turn it off. So as you see, Spawntown one in the left corner, if I turn it off and on, it'll, you know, turn off and on. And you can use that to have waypoints saved, but, you know, not have them cramming up your peripheral vision, and then turn it on when you want to actually utilize the waypoint and follow it back home. So it's a great feature, really useful. So now, what would happen if I die? Uh-oh. That's not good. So, when you die, a new waypoint will be created where you died, and these death waypoints can annoyingly cram up your entire area, unfortunately. So, first of all, the corpse that is created upon death will not despawn. You can take as long as you need to get back to where your corpse is, as long as you know where it is. And, you know, you can collect your items from it. It will not despawn until you transfer items and until it remains empty. So now it'll despawn now that it's empty. It takes a little bit to do so, though. But now you have an annoying death waypoint. In order to deal with that, you just go back to the waypoints tab and remove it just like you would with any other waypoint. Just so that they don't start crowding up your screen and becoming a whole annoyance, I guess. So yeah, that's how to deal with waypoints, and how to remove them, and how to place them. The next thing that we want to get into is Nature's Compass. Nature's Compass is a wonderful mod which only needs one compass, 4 logs of any kind. It can be the same kind, obviously, or multiple different kinds, as you can see. It doesn't have to be consistent. And then 4 saplings of any kind as well, or they can be all the same. And you will get a Nature's Compass. So now, what do you do with a Nature's Compass? You can use it to search up biomes within a 20,000 block radius. So say I wanted to find a Araucaria savanna for some reason. I will find the biome, I will click Start Search, and boom, it's found at a distance of 5,568 blocks. And the compass points in the direction that it is. Just like any other compass, it will point in your destination location. You can obviously walk there. You have your exact coordinates as well, displayed on your screen when you're holding the compass. And obviously you can slowly make your way there. Although that is quite far, so I'm not going to go there on my own. But I think you get the point. You can also search up the biome. So say if you want to look up biomes under Terralith, if you Google the Terralith mod biomes and you look in the wiki and you see a biome that you want to find, under either Terralith, the biomes you will go, also has their own wiki that you can Google for biome categories, or Biomes of Plenty, which you can also look up the wiki for to find the biomes that you want to explore. Just keep in mind that we're on Minecraft 1.18, so make sure that it is biomes that you can find for Minecraft 1.18. Sometimes mods like this will remove and add new biomes, so just keep that in mind. But say, you know, you were like, oh, I looked up this one biome on Terralith. What is it called? It is called, maybe you want to look up the Alpine Grove. You just type it into the search bar, look it up, and you'll see, oh, it's 180 blocks from where I am. And essentially just, yeah, do it like that. So you can either search it up or scroll through a list of never-ending biomes. I suggest just typing it in the search bar if you know the name of it. So that's how the Nature Compass functions, and I do that so that people aren't generating unnecessary chunks looking for a very specific biome. They can just find which biome they want to go to and slowly make their way over there. Whether they want to go into the Nether and challenge it and head in that direction in the Nether, and, you know, hope they end up closer to it because you can go through the Nether like it's a little... You know, you can obviously travel 8 times the distance in the Nether. Like, for every block in the Nether you travel, it's 8 times the distance in the overworld. So, you know, you can do that to travel there, or you can just walk there through the overworld, whatever feels better for you. So yeah, that's the Nature's Compass. The next one is Waystones. So these Waystones will generate around the world, or you can craft them. So essentially, in order to trigger a waystone, you right-click on it, and then you'll get a menu of all the waystones that you've already accessed. You can craft waystones, or you can find them in villages, or naturally spawned randomly in the terrain, and you can mine them and take them to your own location that you want to utilize them at, and go from there. Just keep in mind that for every 2,500 blocks, an extra level is added to the requirement that you need to travel it. Which is why I also suggest making another hub for waystones. So if you... Well, it'll definitely drastically reduce the travel cost for one location to another if you end up crafting waystone hubs in the Nether. Again, because you can travel further in the Nether. So waystones will work better if you have like one waystone in one location in the Nether, and, you know, just connecting the locations through the Nether like that, with the inconvenience that you have to utilize the Nether portal to go to that waystone. So that's also just something to keep in mind. But yeah, then you'll, you know, go there, see that it's used up 2 of your levels, go there, see that it's used up 2 of your levels. 2 levels is the base cost to travel. Oh, of course, the internet dropped. But yeah, 2 levels is the base cost to travel, and an extra level is added for every 2,500 blocks that you travel. Yeah, so that's Waystones. Once I can log back in, I'll show you how to craft them. Okay, I should be able to get back in now. Like I said, my internet just randomly drops. It's the most frustrating thing ever. Has nothing to do with the server. My internet is just absolute shit. I'm sure most of you who've talked to me in the Discord know that I sometimes get kicked out sometimes. And sometimes there's like a connection issue when I have to log in again, and it doesn't want to log in. It's really stupid. Feel free to skip this part until I figure out how to log back in properly. This was what I was hoping wouldn't happen while I was... Oh, here we go. We might be good. I was really hoping this wouldn't happen while I was dealing with making this video. You gotta be kidding me. And I can't exactly... I just recorded all this time, and I might have to reset the game, and I don't even know if it'll record the screen of the game if I do that. Here we go. I will probably just add a chapter to this saying to just skip this portion. Here we go. Now we're logging in. Once that little button at the base disappears, I can log in properly. It's just a connection issue on my part. Usually, you can make it easier to log in if you just reset the client and go from there. That'll make it so that you log in seamlessly the next time and don't have to hit refresh 1,000 times. But you shouldn't have to deal with that too much if you have internet that doesn't randomly drop like mine. Anyways, to craft a waystone, you gotta... To craft a waystone, you need stone bricks, an obsidian, or vines on top of waystone, or mossy stone bricks, and obsidian to craft the mossy one, or sandstone, chiseled sandstone, and obsidian. But you also will need this warp stone, which you can easily craft just by taking 1 emerald, 4 ender pearls, and 4 purple dyes. And then you get a warp stone that you can use to make the rest of those waystones. So yeah, that's waystones. The next thing is the farm mods. So one thing I'll suggest if you want to find new crops is to look and break as many plants in the world as you can find. So if I am in survival mode and I find shaded gardens, especially if you see the plant is from Pam's Harvest Craft and it's grown in the wild, break it, because you're going to get different crops, such as I just got a jute, sweet potato, and radish. Each different type of garden from Pam's Harvest Craft has a selection of different seeds, or you can break things like wild corn or wild plants from the Farmer's Delight mod and have access to corn or whatever else you want to grow. And then you can plant that in soil once you get the seeds, and you can craft the seeds by putting the newly found fruit inside of the crafting grid, and then you get a seed, which will allow you to grow it, and then yeah, you can plant it. And if you want to know what use that crop even carries, say for example you want to find what can you do with a jute, feel free to just look it up here. You can see that jute, the only purpose of jute is to craft string, which could actually come in handy with making those bandages. While if you wanted to see what a radish does, you can look over here and click on that to see that radishes have several food recipes. So yeah, that's kind of the farming mod. There isn't too much to it. Find crops in the wild, grow them, see what kind of foods you can craft with them, and experiment with it and have fun. There are, I know, at least Farmer's Delight mods, and there's at least Farmer's Delight mods and Pam's Harvest Craft that are installed on this server. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to go through quickly is the fact that there is a miner's dimension. You can craft the portal to the miner's dimension. Oh no, my internet dropped again. Like, I can look in the corner of my screen. I know it's not showing for any of you, because it's just recording on the app, which is why I know if I close it, it's not going to work. But it'll completely disconnect to the point that it'll say there's no internet. It's absolutely ridiculous. I need to talk to someone about the internet connection here. And it wastes time when I'm trying to record this. Let's hope we get back in fairly quickly now that the internet just hopped back on. Here we go. We're getting in. So the miner's dimension. In order to get the miner's dimension portal, you use 4 logs of any kind, 4 planks of any kind, and a stone pickaxe, and you get the teleporter, which you can then place and click on it to teleport to the dimension. Click on it, right-click on it. But I'm not going to do that. You can discover that location for yourself. It's essentially just an infinitely generating underground cave that goes 256 blocks high. Just a bunch of stone and a bunch of ores. It can also be a really nice quiet getaway from the overworld and a safe haven for monsters if you don't want to have to deal with as many of the stressors that you would normally get from mining. It's really handy, in my opinion. But yeah, that's the cave dimension if you want to have a cave all to yourself, pretty much. Feel free to utilize it. It's the only dimension I could get to work for this mod pack, unfortunately. But yeah, the next thing, and the last thing that we're going to show here today is the market stands, or crates, as you can call them. So if you want to know how to craft the crates, You can use them for all the different vanilla wood types. Unfortunately, it doesn't extend beyond the vanilla wood types. Take that wood type and throw it in the crafting table with sticks for whatever wood type you decide to use. Place it, and to you, as the person who placed it, this menu is going to pop up, or you can shift to see what the buyer is going to see. And that's what other people will see on your placed crate if they click on it normally. So what you can do is you can make it so, say you want to make it so that someone can spend 1 emerald to get 3 saplings. So, and you also have to stock it, make sure it has stock as well, otherwise, it's not just going to infinitely generate these saplings. You have to make sure you have the thing that you're wanting to sell, so that, crouch down, see what other people are going to see when they click on it. It's essentially coded to your name, so only you will see it like this, and it's indestructible, and it's pretty much completely indestructible by any other player other than yourself. So they're not going to be able to steal the box either, or take the items in it. They will have to buy it for the cost that you want them to buy it for. But if you want to see what the customer's seeing and making sure it works, just click Shift, crouch down, and then click it, and you'll see this. So now other people can come in, buy those 3 saplings, and yeah, they can go off with the item they just purchased. And now, because it's out of stock, it shows that you cannot get that item anymore. And then you can, take your profit from the green little space here and restock so that the next person can come in and buy some more. So yeah, that is essentially the purpose of that. So yeah, that is everything you should need to know about this server. I'm really excited to have you all. Really excited to get on with this. We've waited too long for this. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, Inky Nightshade, and we will go from there. I'm excited to play with all of you. Have fun, and feel free to invite some friends.